Good evening and welcome back to the West Ham Network. I am Anton and I'm here alone because everyone has disappeared. Still has said he was coming on the show and he's just don't know where he is. Nobody knows where he is. And all the other lads were due to come on and it all faltered at the last minute. But you've just left with the big man himself. You've hopefully not got fed up with me today. So I am going to be doing the player ratings for today. We've done the match day live, we've done the match review, highlights and words. We had Russ coming on live from the stadium as well, and I hope you enjoyed the content earlier on, and I hope you had time to dissect the game today, and I'm absolutely buzzing about that result today, absolutely buzzing. What a great result that was for West Ham, get that over the line, and yeah, a great day all round. So what we're going to do is we're going to dissect the game a little bit by doing the player rating. So first and foremost, the first player we want to rate today, so we want you to get your ratings for, is Lucas Fabianski, out of 10. He, for me, gets a decent rating. I'm actually going to give him a 7 tonight. For me, he gets a 7. I'll be honest with you. I think he actually commanded the box really, really well today. He came out when he needed to. He done everything that was asked of him. He looked really comfortable at claiming the crosses. When Wolves were trying to get into the box, you could actually see that he... What is my sound okay now? Is it okay now, mate? Please let me know if that sound is okay. But I think he was really commanding in the box when he needed to be, and he stepped up to the plate every single time when asked for, and every single time this season in particular, when players have been asked, or team or fans have been asked, you know, what do you think? Do you think it should be Fabianski or Areola? And people are then calling for Areola. I think Fabianski has stepped up. Still clipping. Let me just have a quick listen to it, mate. If you give me a brief second. That might be it. I think I may have sorted it. Can you let me know now if that's okay, please? How's that now? The noise? Can you hear that okay, does he? Please say that is okay. But anyway, I'm going to give him a 7. Or yeah, I don't do halves in the show. We haven't done halves in the show for a while, but yeah, I think that's going to be a 7 from Fabianski. Like I said, he's commanded the box. He's came out. He's controlled the defenders. He's looked the part and he's stepping up to the plate, and that's what we want, and that's all we can ask for. And what's really going to do him the world of good is the fact that we've actually got a clean sheet under our belt. And it wasn't just him. Listen, we know it was the rest of the team, but I think Fabianski at the end of the day has done a job that's worthwhile. So let me jump into the chat, see who's kicking about, and then, of course, we'll go through the ratings with you guys as well. Long Dark Tunnel is saying, only a few weeks ago we thought Zouma was more into rugby, trying up and under his cat. Now he's playing his way back into people's hearts. Maybe I should punt his dog. much more confident going into the Liverpool game now. Antonio looked like he enjoyed the change of tactics. He gets a bit stale up front at the time. He does, mate. And happy birthday to Tommy Soucek, of course. Good evening. Thank you, Mark, for joining us. Steve Bell, thank you for joining us as well. And Mark Alexander, fantastic. Proper needed that. NWO is saying big win, big 3 points. Again, sorry for the delay. We've had problems as well with the connections and stuff, but hopefully we've got that all sorted. Let's hope we turn up to Southampton, absolutely, for the FA Cup, which is up next. Long as that tunnel, I think we'll put out a weakened team for that game. Lauren Rose is saying what sort of team is Moyes will put out on Wednesday. We'll have to wait and see. Steve Bell saying, I'm hoping he puts out a full-strength side, but I have my doubts. Richard's going to the game, of course, so he says he will be doing that, is putting a full strength out team as well, which I would be surprised if he would put out that one. Looking forward to Wednesday's doing an overnighter. I love that. And good to see you, mate. Thank you for joining us. Happy with that win. Steve's in the house. Lawrence is in the house. Tyler is saying, is there a delay tonight? There was. We're having loads of technical issues and got it all sorted eventually. Howard Ailes is in the house, even all you lovely people. Good to you all talking to each other. Let me just see where we can get to the bit where you start rating Fabianski. So Lawrence has given him an 8.5. What do you think? Do you agree with Lawrence on that? Serif Happy Hammer is giving Fabs an 8 also. Howard Ailes is giving him a 9. I mean, a 9's a big score, and I love the fact that West Ham players are going to get that, but I do think there are other players that deserve that 9 as well. Adam Cook is giving Fab an 8. Does he there? An 8. Fab, he gets 7.5. He definitely looked a lot more confident in the air today. Absolutely. You could see that. There was a couple of times that people were talking about how he doesn't command the box and he goes a bit mute sometimes. And then Areola came into the team and he played against Kenny Minster, and in actual fact, some of the errors that he made was the fact that he was mute in the box. But I think Fabianski, and the thing is, we've got 2 really quality, good goalkeepers here. So, but it's still a bit weird, but listenable. What is happening? I don't know. Does he? I really can't fathom what's going on. I mean, it's a brand spanking new setup I've got, so hopefully it's not. But he does look a little bit more confident in the air. Peter Jones is giving him a 7.5. Epic Hashtime is saying, I still can't believe that Fabianski didn't concede goals. Well, then, Epic, the question I'm going to ask you is, do you think he should have conceded goals today? Because I don't see how Wolves... there was a couple of times he was tested, but not massively. But the thing I was most impressed with was how he came out for corners, and dealt with everything that was coming into that box really well, and with the players in front of him. Mark Alexander's given him a 7. Where are we? Steve Bell is giving him a 7 as well. Andrew, the West Ham Till I Die Faulkner, you're new here. Thank you for joining us, mate. And if you are, please subscribe to the channel. I hope you enjoy our content. Lots of fun, interesting content for you as well. So thank you for joining us. Is it still clipping, mate? How frustrating. Let me just click this in here. There is a clip, isn't there? There is. That's really annoying. That's clipping. I do apologize. So I do apologize for that clipping noise. I don't know if I can sort that while I'm doing this, but we'll keep going if that's okay with you. So yeah, Fabianski all round for me. He gets a 7. Good, solid performance, and that's what we like to see from the big man. Next up for you guys to rate is Aaron. So, what do you give to Aaron Cresswell? I personally have given him today a 7. I think he was vital, obviously, in the build-up for Soucek's goal, and he looked back to his dependable self after a shaky few weeks, but he wasn't the only player really to have a shaky few weeks. I think there was several other players that that could have joined that that remit of being quite shaky, but he was back to his normal self. I think he was solid in the position. Again, people may think the 7's pretty harsh, but I think that there were other players that were potentially better than him, and that's and marginally better. 7 or an 8, it's there or thereabouts, because there's a lot of team and a lot of players in this team that are going to be that are going to be a similar score today. But for me, I thought he'd done well. He got forward pretty well. He got back pretty well. He'd done the job, everything he needed to do, and I was heavily impressed with his performance today. So yeah, I'm glad that Cresswell was back. A couple of times he went down, and I thought he was going to pick up a bit of an injury, and I was really concerned. But he seems to have kind of got over that as such, and I'm delighted that we've actually found the kind of original Cresswell, that's come back and firing on all cylinders. So for me, Cresswell gets a 7. Let's jump into the chat, see what everyone else is saying. Lawrence has given Cresswell a 7. Howard Ailes has given him a 9. Troj, you've given Fabianski an 8. Mark Alexander, you've given him a 7. Dazzy O'Dear's given Cresswell a 7. Thank you very much, Andrew. Good to see you. Thank you for doing that. Fremer has given Cresswell an 8. Seraph 2 has given Cresswell a 7. Lawrence is given Howard, or you're questioning why Howard's given him a 9. Troji has given him a 7. I mean, a clean sheet as well. Does that warrant an extra point? I don't know. Does it? Does it not? Ruroni 10 shins is saying 7 sounds good. NWO has given Cresswell an 8. Andrew's given Cressy a 7. Steve Bell saying he looked like his old self. Cressy gets a 7. At least didn't get a handball in the box, of course, obviously, like he did against Leicester. Fornals saved Cresswell having to do a lot. Valid point. We'll come on to that as well, because I thought Fornals was unbelievable today, and he really supported Cresswell in that kind of role as well. So yeah, we'll get onto that. Again, Cresswell 7, back to the solid self, still slow on crossing. Peter Jones is giving Cresswell in their 7:30 defense wise, 5-second half of the game, push it up to 6. Love that. George Cresswell's better left sided centre back than full back nowadays, and I think that's what one of the key elements of today was, that you had Cresswell sitting in the middle of that, on the left hand side of those three of Zouma and Dawson. And he really suits that position, on top of the fact that he sits at left back. But I think it was maybe the all-round change of formation that really helped West Ham's performance today. And, of course, players like Cresswell, etc. Lauren Rose, you've given Fabianski a 9. Troz, the tactics did suit Cresswell today. Absolutely. Right, so next up on the players today is Ben Johnson. Start rating Ben Johnson for me, please. Listen, I'm delighted that Ben Johnson's back in at the starting lineup. There was a while there where I was starting to worry that he wasn't getting chosen, and Fredericks came in for him, and I was thinking, is there something wrong there? Is he going to be, are the big clubs going to be sniffing around him? Or is he going to be off-ski in the summer? I know West Ham have now put in the 2-year option to extend. That doesn't mean that I think there's an element that he has to go and agree to that deal. However, it means that we've got the option to keep him and to extend that deal. So I'm glad that we have extended that deal. Now, I'm giving Ben Johnson a solid A. I thought he was fantastic in the first half. He was bombing forward. He was getting crosses into the box. He defended well as Wolves started to press the team, especially in the second half. And I don't think he'd done much wrong, to be honest. And I actually think when he plays, we look solid. Soucek is late. He's a great player, of course he is. I mean, I've got his top there. He's a fantastic player for the club. But as of late, Soucek, I think the injuries had a really kind of negative impact on his performances. Fredericks is kind of, neither up or down. He can be all over the shop. But for me, Johnson emulates everything you want from West Ham. He's young. He comes through the youth system. And, every time we play and he plays, there's usually good performances. He's clever at getting forward. He's clever at getting back. He can tackle, he can defend, but he can shoot forward and he can cross the balls into the back of the net. And I thought he had a great performance today. And I think him and Bowen worked well together, and they got forward. And there was several times in the first half in particular that he was getting the ball a lot. And I think it was like he was bombing forward, and whether it was him crossing the balls in, or Bowen crossing the balls in and it was taking a deflection, it's finding its way back to Johnson. He was doing well. So yeah, fair play to Johnson. And I really like the idea of Johnson being our kind of starting fullback as well. Howard Ailes is saying he gets a 9. Big score from you, Howard. Duzzy O'Dare saying he gets a 7. Serif Hammer is saying he gets an 8. Long Dark Tunnel gives him an 8. Mark Alexander gives him a 7. Rurini gives him an 8. Peter Jones Krez is getting better going forward than in defence. Andrew is giving him an 8. The whole team between a solid 7 and maybe an 8. You're true. Yeah, absolutely. Johnson 7, poor crossing. I didn't see that today, NWO, but I suppose that's exactly what the whole point of doing these shows is. It gives you your own kind of opinion, doesn't it? Lawrence, you're giving him 9. He shut down the right side. Awesome. Absolutely. Ben 7, bit shaky still. But then again, you know, as much as I'm saying what I'm saying, it's his first game kind of back in the starting lineup. And I think that, you know, I think he's going to grow in confidence. Now, we've got 2 big games in a row. It'd be interesting to see if he is going to be the starter, considering in theory, I know we've got Ashby coming up the wings, but because we've got Fredericks out injured, Soufal out injured, would he play Johnson in the FA Cup game? But I think he will, to be honest. Johnson didn't do much wrong. Stroll is saying Jono 9, amazing offensively and defensively. Troj is saying Johnson 7, strong defensively. Peter Johnson says definitely a good 8. Steve Bell saying Johnson 8, thought he had a real good game. Trini Hammer he gives him an 8. Johnson an 8, solid game, needs more game time, will only get better with time. Absolutely. English Yardy, Johnson gets an 8, way better than Soufal. Lauren says, after the last 3 games, this was a vast improvement. Absolutely. WHU 58-7 has pace but needs to improve his crossing. English Harry Johnson, to me, should never have lost his job to Soufal. To be honest, thing is, I don't want Moyes to stunt his growth. Give that young man a chance. English Hardy, I think you make a valid point. I think he actually really has progressed West Ham in that area, and maybe kind of kicked on in that position. But we can't remotely take away from the fact that how good a player Soufal is for West Ham, and I think the injury has had a knock-on problem to him. But yeah, fair play to Cresswell. Johnson, because I thought he's done fantastic, and long may that continue, and those performances continue in the West Ham shirt. So next up is the man who has been on the tip of everyone's tongues over the last couple of weeks. It's Kurt Zouma. So get your ratings in for Kurt Zouma, but to be honest, to me, he was one of the players who was potentially man of the match. He had all the players that were trying to come through in his pocket. He was absolutely commanding, centre half. Nothing could get past him. That tackle that came in the first half that everyone thought he was going to get heavily injured from, but he got back up and he kept doing what he is capable of doing. Absolutely demanding, commanding centre half today. Showed us why, the reason West Ham spent the money to do it, putting all the other stuff to the side. Zouma was literally unbelievable, unplayable at times, and Fabio Silva could not get a look in today, which is great. It's great to see him. Confidence is kicking back in again. And that is only but going to help the team. So for me, and for that, I give Kurt Zouma a solid 9 today, a 9 out of 10 performance. Aaron is saying man of the match. I think there's a couple of players. I'll talk you through that in a second. Duzzy O'Dare says an 8.5. Howard Ailes is saying Zouma gets a 9. WHU 58 says Zouma gets a 9. I rated Cresswell a 7, and I think most of the chat rated Cresswell a 7 as well. There was a fluctuation between a 7 and an 8. Fremer 007 gives Zouma a 9. Lawrence Watkins gives him a 9.5. Long Dark Tunnel gives him a 9. Troj, Zouma 8, and probably man of the match. NWO is saying happy he gets a 9. Mike is saying Zouma 9, thought he was incredible today. Vinay says 9. Mark Alexander, Zouma 8, proper solid. 9s and 10s are for something super special. Honestly, Mark, I get it, it's your opinion, but I do think he was pretty special today. Top notch. That tackle in the first half, I think it was when Silva was through in goal, and he literally turned Zouma, but Zouma just read the player, read the ball, read the tackle, and made an absolutely inch perfect tackle. And then he was bang, when the ball was getting cleared, people were crossing it in, and he was there for every single header, heading them out. Top-notch performance from today, absolutely. Zouma gets a 9 from Trini. Adam Cook, you gave him a 9, massive top dollar. Serve Happy Hammer, Zouma 9, top-notch today. Save Dawson's bacon. I don't know, I'm going to talk about Dawson in a minute. I thought you had a good game, but you know, I think Zouma was obviously the better defender. Zouma 9.5, solid. Steve Bell says Zouma's 9, man of the match performance. Lawrence, Zouma is the man. Just keep your cat away from him. Andrew is saying 9.5, man of the match. Richard Mini, Soucek had made it feel like my birthday. It isn't. English Yardie, Zouma 9 played like a Don, played really well last. Best match I've seen him play. To be honest, a very, very good match from Kurt Zouma. Tabletop Rambo, he also gives Zouma a 9. So let's move on to his centre-half partner, and that is Craig. As it you rate Craig Dawson, then Mr. Dependable, you could say. He's been with the West Ham squad for going on a year and a half, and he is still there performing week in and week out and giving West Ham top level performances, you know, but he looks like a far better and far more dependable player when he plays alongside the likes of Kurt Zouma. He was excellent in the air and always winning everything that came his way. I think what you got from Craig Dawson today was you had 2 defenders that were performing to the highest of levels, but because Zouma was doing like the last-ditch tackles, the blocks, winning all the headers, everything else that Craig Dawson was doing was getting kind of going under the radar because it was so vibrant and bright what Zouma was doing. So for me, I honestly think I'm going to give Craig Dawson an 8 because I thought the 2 centre-half pairs, no one could get through them. Not any point, really. I think there was only one attempt on goal that he had, really, and he could really do that Wolves had any real chance, but that's because we shut up shop in defence, and I think everyone back there done their job. So Craig Dawson for me gets and absolutely gets a solid 8 today. Let me go into the chat and see what. Let me see where everyone is. I'm trying to find it again. Everybody else, question, Anton, you got man of the match in the game. What do you mean? I don't know what you mean. Who got man of the match? Is that what you're asking? Who got man of the match of the game? Tabletop Ramble, Dawson gets an 8. Serif is saying Dawson gets a 7. Duzzy O'Dear gives him an 8. Everybody else gives Dawson a 9. Mark Alexander gives Dawson a 7. Becomes Mr. Reliable. You're a harsh man. You're a harsh man. Long Dark Tunnel. You are a harsh man. You're giving him a 6.5. It's your opinion, no. We are happy with Zouma. Only human to stick up for us. Mice Collective. Who comes up with those names? And how do you change them so quickly? I don't know how people do it. Honestly, I don't know. Fremer gives Big Dawson a 7. Aaron gives him a 6. Troj gives him a 7. NWO gives 8 carrots for Donkey. Vinay Dawson gets an 8. 7 for Dawson. Steve Bell, Dawson 8. Steady Eddie. Andrew Faulkner gives Dawson a 7. Trini Hammer gives Dawson a 7. Adam Cook gives Dawson an 8. Not great first half, solid second. Mike Theory gives 8 to Dawson. He's been consistent as of lately. He didn't exactly win everything. He really messed a header that Zouma cleared. Dawson 7, not good as our hero and protector. Zouma, Ray. I'm sorry, I can't get over that name. Ray Foskett, 7 Dawson. John Murdoch Dawson, 7. WC58 Dawson, 8. Developing a solid partnership with Zouma. Peter Jones, Dawson, a good 9. If his clearances went to our players more often, would have been higher. Andy Miles, sorry, Anton just got in. Hope you're a good big man. I am, mate. Thanks for coming in and chatting. No worries, mate, at all. Dawson, 8. Played okay. Plays well with Zouma. Troj gives him scoring 90 minutes prior form. Shouldn't affect the rating. But listen, I think he's making a solid performance, and I'm absolutely delighted that he's there or thereabouts again doing the job. A very, very consistent Craig Dawson in the West Ham team. Anyway, it's time for you to go and rate that man, Tommy Soucek. This is a fun one because in our chat, some people in the chat that we're involved in we're kind of dissing Tommy Soucek today. Now it's his birthday. I'm not saying that's the reason why you've got to give him an extra point. He stepped up with a goal. But what I saw from Tommy Soucek today was a borderline a bit of Tommy Soucek of old. I kept seeing him in the box several times. He was in the box. Declan Rice was nowhere to be seen near him. So I don't know if I can give him anything other than an 8 today. I really don't think I can. I think he went under the radar. I think he done all the job. I think he broke up play, collected the ball. He, passed the ball in right areas. I think he felt the confidence getting further forward. But I do notice that people seen his performance differently today. But I do think he gets a solid 8. Not just for the fact the goal helps. The goal probably adds half a mark onto him. But I do think, and in fact, it's a winning goal as well. That probably helps to the situation. But I do think I think we saw a bit of what Declan Rice and Tommy Soucek of last season, where one sat back and the other one went a bit further forward. He covered every blade of grass, as he always does, week in and week out. He played some dangerous passes into the forwards, helped the defence out when he needed, popped up with a much needed goal. And after fine movement in the box, he got his goal. And he celebrated his birthday with that as well. And his granddad was there for the first time ever to see him play for West Ham, which was great for him as well. So I'm giving Tommy Soucek an 8. Let me go in and see what everyone else is saying as well. Duzzy O'Dear gives Thomas an 8. Howard Ailes has given him a 9. Lockdart Tunnel has given him a 7.5. Mark Alexander, Soucek 8, bring his granddad every week. Absolutely. Aaron is saying, as it's birthday, I'll say 9, but 8. Troj, 7.5. Soucek, much better. Potato Salad, Vinay is giving him an 8. Seraph is giving him an 8. Ray is giving him 6. Not fully right yet, but better. NWO Police, better, but still not top form. 8 for the goal. WHU 58, Soucek, solid 8. Lawrence Watkins, 8 for Potato Salads. Trini Hammer, Soucek 9, allowed to get forward, does the business. The human Soucek gets an 8 from us. He misplaced a few headers. Steve Bell gives him an 8, much improved today. Andrew gives him a 9 for his birthday and the winner. Mike Theory, Soucek 8. He switched it up today. First half, he was a bit slow. Tabletop Ramble gives him a 7.5, much better getting forward and a bit more than normal. Soucek gets an 8 from you, Fremer. P. Gaz, I was saying he should have been benched, but he was a good solid 8. No mistakes either. Peter Jones, big improvement. Soucek gets an 8 from you. English Yardy, 8, played okay, good goal. I'm hoping this match gets him going, to be honest. He seemed energized. Also, he did. Soucek 8, back to his old self from Adam Cook. Thomas, work off the ball was exceptionally. It was, mate. It really was. And John Murdoch has given him an 8. There you go. Let's move on to Mr. Captain, Mr. Declan. Matchday build-up show that I thought that if we were going to make some tweaks, it would be nice to see some of those tweaks made today with the pairing of Declan Rice and Tommy Soucek. Now, what I think we did see was that. However, I actually think we saw a whole new Declan Rice today, which is, even though he sat a bit further back, he was shooting from distance, and we're starting to see this all-round footballer. He literally is world class. We have an absolutely top-notch, world-class midfielder. We know that from, he drives the team, even when he doesn't get as far forward as he normally does. He came close to opening the score, and he hit the post from a long-range effort, and he was just dominating self in the central of midfield. And I can't really differentiate him at all from Tommy Soucek. So for me, he gets an 8. He's pretty. I think last week was one of his worst games in a West Ham shirt, and even at that, it wasn't the worst game. He didn't help for giving away the goal, but today he was back to his normal self, doing what he does, breaking up play, covering the defense, driving the team forward, allowing Soucek to get forward. He was tracking back, but at the end of the day, Declan Rice is that world-class player, and he gets a solid 8 today. Absolutely. Let me jump into the chat and see what everyone else is saying. Howard Ailes is giving him a 9. Troj is getting Rice gets a standard 8. Dazil Deer gives him an 8. Seraph says Decker's 9, played well. Shame that strike did not hit the back of the net. Paul O'Brien is saying Rice 7, solid performance. Ray giving him a 9, top player in the world for me. Long Dark Tunnel 7.5. Troy says he always gets an 8 or higher. Mark Alexander says Rice 8 came close a couple of times, but let Soucek get forwards. Mike Theory, he was electric today. Imagine if that shot had hit the post when it went in. Peaches in the house. Hope you're well, mate. World class. Arched Barnley is an 8. Fremar, world class. Decker's 9. NWO Place, Rice gets an 8. Vinay, 9. Most influential player for West Ham since Trevor Brooken. Yeah, big boots to fill, but I think he's certainly doing a certain good job. Mate, Rice, a big 9+. Tabletop Rambo, Rice, an 8. Ian Barron, your house looks different in the dark, Anton. I hope it looks better, actually. I hope the lighting works really well. I hope you do like it. Steve Bell, Decker's solid 8. Troj, he turned over possession much more than Soucek. Peak ads, Deck solid 8 as well. Mike Mice Collective, 9 from us. But he needs to rein his I can't. Adam Cook, Rice, 9, man of the match. Played like we are seeing different class. Best English midfielder in the Premier League. WHU 58, Declan 9, broke down opposition, played really well and hit the post. English Yardie says Declan is Declan. Like what I saw today, Anton, you're right. He is world class. Why the club doesn't want to build around him is annoying. Shooting from distance today was good, and that's what I loved about today was we saw another difference in Declan Rice. We know we can shoot from distance, but it was the quality in the shot. It was curling attempts, and when you see that shot that completely beat Sa, curled round and it hit the post. I mean, they've done it in slow motion. He's unbelievable. He's unbelievable. Love it. Andrew, a strong 9. Absolutely. Hammerhead. All I keep looking at is dead fish, or it looks like it's dead and flown. They're not dead, mate. Let me just double check. They're totally not dead. There's 2 fish in there, mate. They're alive. They are alive and kicking. Rice. Actually, one of them is called Winston. I don't know, Hulk Smash and Winston. So there you go. You can say hi to them as well. Vinay, and saying how Declan is improving, he won't be allowed to develop that way if we went to another team. Hope he remembers that. Completely agree with you, mate. 100 million gazillion %. Now it's time to move on to Pablo Fornals, one of my favorite players. Well, I mean, this man emulates everything about West Ham. I don't know if you've seen tonight his video. He's put on his, I think he's put on his Instagram. He's carrying his newborn child into the stadium after the game, singing, "Come on, you Irons! Come on, you Irons!" He absolutely lives and breathes this football club. He looks like he is absolutely loving every single minute of being a West Ham player. He is just, stepping up to the mark when he is asked to do that. He was instrumental for Soucek's goal, starting to move with a fine back heel. His ticky-tacky football, he was doing lots of ticky-tacky football. He played in the left wing-back position. I thought he supported Cresswell so well today. He didn't stop. He worked so hard. High intense rate. He just, you know what? To be asked to do what he did today was phenomenal. Now, earlier on, when Stell was around doing what he wanted, he sent us a message to myself and Russ, and he said, for him, he was man of the match. He came to West Ham as a number 10, was asked to change his game to more of an industrious midfielder, had been asked to play left, right, and central midfield, and today was asked to play as a left wing back. Fantastic. And fair play. I don't agree with Still much, but he was exactly that. A very, very top-notch performance from that man today. And he's borderline going on saying Mr. West Ham, and he really is. A fantastic performance from Pablo today. So let me jump into this. Oh, sorry, I haven't even given you my rating. I'm going to give him a 9. I thought he was bloody brilliant today, and he deserves that rating today. So he gets a 9 from me. Howard Ailes is saying he agrees. He gives him a 9. Dazil Deer gives him an 8. Vinay gives him a 9. Ray says 7. Great vision from me. He does have great vision. Hammerhead is saying, Pablito, 8.5. Troj is saying Fornals 8. World class pass in second half. Mark Alexander Fornals 8 worked his socks off as usual, made Cresswell job easier. He was tenacious in the first half. Andrew says an 8, a Pablo was. Paul O'Brien, Pablo 7.5, the best performance for a while. Our Spanish duel 8. I love Fornals. I really, really do. 8, best game for a while. Nice collective. Fornals 7 from us. Twice from us. I can't get over it. What you did to me from us. I could just picture it. I could hear the mice talking to me. I could actually hear the mice talking to me with a high-pitched voice. It's ridiculous. What are you doing to me? You're convincing me that you're actually a bloody mice sitting here watching YouTube, like on. Like, honestly, I don't know. It's actually so funny. It would be an 8, but it's I don't know how these people get. It just comes to them. It's brilliant. Pablo in wing back was a masterstroke. Took a bit to get into it. 7. It was a masterstroke, mate. Tabletop Rambo 4 8.5. Looked very comfortable in the new position. Didn't stop. Steve Bell, Pablo solids 8. Never stops working. Phenomenal. Sorry, don't say. I can't see the chat. I can't deal with you. I cannot deal with you. Fornals was excellent today from Serif. He gets an 8. Play it, Anton. I don't have Instagram. I've saved it on my phone. I don't know how to get it to the phone, to the computer. Well, do you know what? I'll try and show you from my. Actually, do you know what? Let's see if I can do that now. Let's see if I can do that. You ready for this? Let's see if this works. Things you love to see. Absolutely brilliant. Fornals 8.5, a beautiful workhorse. Absolutely. Andrew Faulkner, Pablo 8, most improved player. Long Dark Tunnel 7.5. Trini Fornals 9, work rate, attack and play, unsung hero. Our Spanish Mark Noble. We are massively. What are we, mate? What are we? Love that. Daniela gives him a big 11. Troj Fornals was key to us scoring. Always seems to turn it on at after half time. Fornals from WHU 58 gets an 8.5 just for his passion for our club. Solid by Pablo. I changed my score 9.5. Hammerhead. English Yard Fornals 8. I wouldn't give him a 9. His passing at times is horrendous. Can give the ball away with no pressure around you. He played well. I don't think he did that today, though. I see what you're saying sometimes. But he is sometimes a creative player. So therefore, sometimes a creative player is going to give the ball away because they're going to try several things in a game. However, I don't think I see that happening today, to be honest. Adam Cook gives him a 9. Peter Jones gives Pablo always looks like he's enjoyed himself playing for West Ham. You are here. I know you are. He always looks as if he's enjoyed himself playing for West Ham from Peter Jones. Reminds him of Bish, Andrew Faulkner. I've just done that video. Hope you looked at. Problem is we only have 12 players we can rely on. I think it's about 14, 15, to be honest. We are new West Ham fans because of that's bloody brilliant. That hope we don't pick up any more injuries. Our Spanish Nobs. Legend already from Andrew Faulkner. Absolutely. And Peachy Boy says, big up that street mice. I can't deal with you guys, but I love it. I do love it. Let's move on to our actual little Joe, and that is Manuel Lanzini. Rate Manuel Lanzini. Look at the man today. He came back into the team. He had picked up a little knock on his Achilles a few weeks ago, and he came back into the team. Listen, I'm absolutely over the moon for Manuel Lanzini. I really am. I think he's so effective when he comes into the team and he plays really, really well. He penetrates defenses, his passing ability. He kind of drives West Ham forward. He's kind of got. I need to be really mindful of how I compare him here because I'm not comparing him to the type of player that Jesse Lingard is, right? I'm not. I'm comparing him to the impact that he can have. Now, when you look at his game, when you watch how he plays, he drives the team forward. He can drop his shoulder and a defender goes one way. He can drop it that way and a defender goes that way, but he keeps dropping the bloody shoulders and the players go from left to right. And they really sometimes can't keep up with his ability. He's not fast, he's not pacey, but because of his pure and utter skill set and his ability to throw off any opposition player that's in front of him, he can then create a penetrating pass. And I thought, sometimes what he does on the ball, but it's also what he does off the ball. He covers so much of the ground in and around that kind of middle of the park, not in the final third, not in the back of the defense, but in that final third, he literally just keeps everything rocking and rolling all day long. And he's really knocking Benrahma's going to have to fight for his to come back in and play that game. Lanzini played the whole 90 minutes today because in actual fact, you couldn't take Lanzini off that park. You couldn't because he was so influential. So fair play to Mr. Lanzini today. I mean, I'm going to give him what am I going to give Lanzini today? I've bigged him up, really bigged him up there. I think I'm going to give him, I think I am going to give him an 8. I really do think I'm going to give him an 8 on his on the ball performance, but also on his off the ball performance because he draws so many of the other players away from him. So let's jump into the chat, see what everyone else is going to say here. Howard Ailes is giving Lanzini a 9. Long Tunnel's giving him an 8.5. Manu, brilliant free roll he had today. He gets an 8. Ray Frost gives him an 8. Made the difference. Mark Alexander gives him a 7. Fremer 007 gives him an 8. Duzzy O'Dear gives him an 8. Arch Barley gives him an 8. Troj gives him an 8. Moyes is going to push from now on. Plan B, let's have it, Moyes. Absolutely, mate. All talking to each other. Love to see that. Steve Bell, Manu 8. Thought he made a big difference. Manu 8. He will get us to the top 6. Anglishardi 8 from Lanzini. Lanzini 8.5. Need him more than ever. WHU 58. Lanzini 8. Always looking to play that killer pass. Absolutely, Vinay. Lanzini 8. Really good player. Peter Jones gives him an 8. Dalek's in the house. Hope you are well, mate. Nice collective. Lanzini 10 from us shows that size does not matter. Oh, man. Lanzini 8 back to passing. Him and Declan, what a pair today together. Absolutely, yeah. Collective, you totally got me. Dalek gives Lanzini a 7. He was knackered last 10. Peter Corned Beef Man 9. Tabletop solid tiny performance 7.5. Robert Howard gives him a 9.5. Cayman gives him an 8. Rather him than Benny Hill. Manny gets an 8 from you, Andrew. Dalek, did you go to the game today? And if you did you enjoy it? I hope you did, mate. Good to see. I'm glad you did get to go to the game. So, yeah, Manu, love it. Love to see him back in the swing of things. Let's move on to the man of the moment, and that is Jared Bowen. So Jared Bowen today played a kind of different role, a role that was up supporting Mickey Antonio, and I'm not saying that took him out of the game. If anything, it actually brought him into the game in a different mindset. And it was really good. And that supporting mechanism for Antonio really worked well and caused a lot of Wolves' problems. He did get through on attack a few times, and it was a good save from Sa to, so you can see here from the picture, to stop him from actually, getting a chance here. But he was quieter than usual, but it was all about everything else he done off the ball that supported Antonio, which allowed Antonio to have a better game today. So that's interesting tactic from David Moyes. I don't think that was, I think that was a bit of a tactical genius, to be honest. And maybe a decision like that is what maybe got the result over the line and made West Ham tick. But it shows you how much of a all-round footballer Jared Bowen is when he can not take one for the team, but allow other players to come in. He gave us a solid performance. He never done anything wrong. He got through on goal. He nearly scored a goal. He created opportunities. He caused their defense problems. Him and Ben Johnson down the right-hand side. Fornals and Cresswell down the left-hand side. And that's all we can ask for, really, from West Ham. He's the man in the moment. He's not, wasn't his solid 9 performance, but for me, he gets anything between a 7 and an 8, and I think I'm going to stick with an 8 because I actually think he's a player today that his positioning has helped Antonio, and Antonio's had a brilliant game, and you could borderline say it's because he was supported today from Jared Bowen. So, yeah, I'm going to jump into the comments to see what everyone thinks. Howard Ailes is saying Bowen gets a 9. Troj is saying Bowen gets a 7. Long time. 5? A 5? What? Come on, mate. Dalek, you give him an 8. Dia gives Jared an 8. Fremer gives him a 6. Arch Barley gives him a 7. Long Dark Tunnel gives him a 7.7. Sean Mann gives him a 7. 7, but played well with Antonio. Cayman gives him an 8. Bowen 8. How much grass did he cover today? Don't know. I'd love to see the stats on him today. I wonder if I can actually get them while we're talking here. Let me see if I can get them up for you. I don't know if I can, but I'll try. Bowen gets a 7. Troj should have put Antonio through, but passing was poor. Bowen from Peter Jones gets an 8. This player is really hard worker and fairly classy. Absolutely. Paul O'Brien says Bowen 7 needs more time to get an understanding, being so close to Antonio. Andrew says gets a solid 8. Bowen from Adam Cook gets an 8. Played well, but not his best game. But, you know, I do also think that some people, and I'm not saying you, Adam, but I do think some people may score him low. And I'm not saying everyone who's in here has scored him low, but may score him low because he didn't say get a goal or get a brace or get an assist today. A bit like how sometimes people oversee what the work Soucek does, especially when, you know, he scored so many goals last season and hasn't done as much this season as well. Vinay is saying an 8. It's insane how he's improved. He won't get the same chance to develop like that at any other club, and I hope he remembers that. Vinay, another great point as well. Absolutely. English Yardy 8. Bowen, thumbs up. I'm just trying to see if I can get any of Bowen's stats for today's game. I'll let everyone read that. He's on fire. You can change your tire, helping West Ham climb higher. That's a good song. That's a great song. WHU 58, Bowen 8. Played closer to Antonio, effective for Antonio. Absolutely, it was, mate. NWO, Bowen gets a 7. Hammerhead, average game from Bowen, really 7.5. Tabletop Rambo says Bowen 7.5 was a bit sloppy at times, but still put a shift in. Peter quadruple X, Bowen 7, but too much pressure on the lad as Antonio isn't scoring these days. And Serif 2 Hammer, Happy Hammer says Bowen gets an 8. And let's move on to last but not least, the main man, our number 9, Mickey Antonio. Now, I tell you what, I'm really pleased with Antonio's performance today. I really am. I think he stepped up to the plate when he needed to, and he maybe shot down a lot of his critics. Now, you've got to give credit when we have to. We have to give the credit to where Moyes started to see that, you know what, he needs a bit of support up there. But also talking to Antonio. So I've got really itchy nose. I think I was trimming my beard earlier on. I think some of the hair's coming up my nose, so apologies for that. I think what Moyes has done with Antonio is going, just go back to the basics. Stop trying to do things you don't need to do. What we're going to do today, though, is we're going to support you. We're going to give you bodies up top with you, people that can support you. But what I want you to do, Antonio, is hold up the play. I want you to hold up with your back to goal. When you collect that ball, you've got to run, hold up the defender and wait for other players to come in. Feed them in, and then you attack. And when you go down the left, we're going to support you down the left because we're going to give you Fornals and we're going to give you Cresswell. And between the three of yous, you can work that whole left flank. When you come in the middle, you're going to have the likes of Lanzini and you're going to have Bowen coming in and supporting you. Not very often did he go down the right. When he did go down the right, he was supported down the right, of course, from Bowen and Ben Johnson. However, he was predominantly down the left-hand side. And then a couple of times he was growing in confidence and he was clicking onto those balls, and then he was starting to nick the ball around the defender and actually attack at one time. Now, there was several occasions that was like, right, you've done a lot of hard work, disperse the ball, and he didn't get the ball away in time and he lost the ball a couple of times. However, as a whole nutshell, it's one of his best performances I've seen him in months, to be honest. And he was influential in the goal for Soucek because he created the goal alongside Fornals, and he nearly had a clear-cut chance. He probably would have put the ball in the back of the net if Zouma hadn't took the chance off him. The ball was literally just lying. He was like 6 yards out. He was going to smash the ball into the back of the net. I don't know what Zouma done. I don't know if he was like trying to back heel it or something like that, and it went haywall up there, and it was a shame because you could just see it was going to land right on Antonio's foot for it as well. But he did well today, taking the game to the Wolves team, taking it to the defenders. And to be honest with you, they couldn't really cope with him. The defense was, I was going to say their defense looked sluggish, but I think it was down to the fact that Antonio and our forward play was really good. And yeah, today, to be honest, he was so effective down the left-hand side and going forward. And also what kind of excited me about Antonio's performance, because he was supported alongside with Bowen, is if you had to look at a team and you tried to rate a team similar to the Europa League teams, like Sevilla, for example, I think I could put Wolves into the same kind of category as them, but the style of play that they play. And I think they could struggle with an Antonio in form. I think any team in Europe could struggle with an Antonio in form. So really, really good to see him. I'm going to give Antonio today an 8, but a solid 8. A solid 8. Let me jump into the chat and see what everyone else is saying as well. Howard else is giving Antonio a 9. Dalek is giving Antonio a 7. Dazio is giving him an 8. Vinay's giving him an 8, was a threat, got an assist, 7.5 from Lock Dark Tunnel. Sean Mann an 8, Troj 8, Antonio, but he gets a 4 for the last 10 minutes because he was knackered. Glad to have the beast back, but I think he ain't as good in the rain. Dalek says Antonio for 70, 80 minutes, excellent after that, a bit slow, 7.5. Arched Barley, 8, much better from Mickey. NWO, 8, best game for a while. Peter Jones, much improved, 7.5. 8 runs his nuts off from Steve Bell. WHU 58, 7.5, but I want to see him passing quicker. Paul O'Brien worked hard, needs a goal, confidence will flow. Andrew Faulkner, 9 for the beast. Ray Voskett, 8, ran his heart out in the best game for a while with an assist too. Antonio 7, bit much better today. Touch lets him down, but it was like a man possessed at time. Apache 8, Antonio 9, ran the Wolves defense ragged. Troj, Antonio can't get up to speed in the wet and he got too much power. Adam Cook, Antonio 8 solid. That's how he should be played and bring others into the game. Troj, Antonio should have been sub 10 minutes earlier. Sean Mann, some really good work on the byline today by Antonio. I completely agree with you, everyone. Mandy G's in the house. Good to see you. I liked when Antonio fouled Jimenez. When Jimenez stole the ball, Antonio stole the ball, pushed them, and they go. I think that's the tackle you're talking about. Troj is saying we can't lose him. Mandy says, did Moy change the system because this is how he wants to set up against Sevilla away in Europa and tried it today? I think that's something. I think Moyes had to change something, to be honest with you. And I think his tactics work today, and it's good to see. In Touchwood, we can kind of grow upon that. All talking to each other. I love to see that. Yes, he will be doing a weekly tomorrow. I'll be doing the press conference on Tuesday. And 7 drop him to the bench on Wednesday. I think he will go to the bench on Wednesday. Antonio 8 would have been a 9. Football IQ at times is horrendous, but he is ours. He puts the shift in today. Left it out in the pitch at times. Today it was hot and cold with him. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I didn't see the final score, to be honest with you. I knew they were beating them after 13 minutes, so I'm actually going to see if I can find out their score from today. They won the game 2-1 against Betis. They were up within 40 minutes, 2-0 up, and then Betis got a late consolation goal. Adam, he didn't actually fight. You're right. Do you know what? He didn't foul him. He did get the ball. Clearly got the ball. Tabletop Rambo, much better from Antonio. 8.5. Great work. Deserved a goal to go with his assist. Howard Ailes is saying, I think he'll set up with the same system for the next 2 games, Mandy. Mandy G is saying an 8 for an improved performance today from Antonio. It's an 8 from me, Bob. And if we can get a draw with that system, we have a great chance at home. Thoughts on Bielsa sacking and Chelsea, Anton? So as Bielsa being confirmed, I did say it last night. I wasn't too sure if it's definitely been confirmed, but I think it is pretty much a no-brainer that he is going to be going. If I was Leeds fans, I don't get it, to be honest, because who else is going to come in and do a job? I know they're conceding goals left, right, and centre, but literally, you know, you got to look at, you know, is the grass always green on the other side? I don't know. Is it? And then with Chelsea, I watched most of the second half, most of extra time, pretty end to end, and then the penalties, and it was pretty mental. Absolutely, it was a bit mental. So yeah, if you try too hard, you put for Prem refs. Who got man of the match today? That's a good point. It depends on who did get man of the match, actually. I don't actually know. Howard, if someone could find out. Well, Zouma. It was Zouma, sorry. Zouma did get it. He did get man of the match. Does you dear? Man of the match was Zouma. So there you go. The last question to you, or we've got 2 more players to go through, and that is Diop came off the bench and Vlasic came off the bench. They literally had a couple of minutes each. However, I want you to quickly rate their performances if you can. And then the last question I'm going to ask to everyone is, who was your man of the match? So you, out of all the 11 players, just put your last comments in and let me know who your one player man of the match was today. I think today, for me, it's a tough one, and it's going to be between Zouma, and Fornals, and I just need to choose which one it's going to be. But I think that the Fornals change of tactics, for me, and how he played out there on the left and how influential he was, I think he is going to get my man of the match just Fornals, because he's asked out to play out of position as well. So Troj is saying Zouma was your man of the match. Mark Alexander, Zouma was man of the match. Tough call for Fornals and Rice, not far behind. Absolutely. Diop made a great challenge, let him know he was on. Absolutely did, and it was a really influential challenge as well. Andrew gives Zouma the man of the match. Sean Mann gives Zouma the man of the match. Ray, Zouma fantastic. Dazil Dia gives Zouma man of the match. Mice Collective, Diop gets a 10 from us. He does not have a cat. Howard Ailes, Diop 9, Vlasic 9, Moyes gets my man of the match. Got it spotted today. Last rating is going to be David Moyes. I want you to rate David Moyes now in the chat and let me know what you think of his tactics today. Diop 10 just for his nonsense tackle. Absolutely. Both of them get a 5. Bielsa shouldn't be sat by Leeds to stay up. Soucek, Mandy, you give him a man of the match. Paul O'Brien gives man of the match to Zouma. English Yardy gives man of the match to Zouma. Daniela Stewart gives it to Fornals. False number 9 on Wednesday. Good shout. Could be. Might even see some of the youngsters who were on the bench today. Might be making an appearance. Diop gets a 5. Morning. Anton, it stopped raining. House is not underwater. So happy days. Good to hear that, Kieran. Someone had said that you were being affected. So I'm glad to hear that. And I hope everything's okay, mate. Stay safe as well. Troj, Moyes 10. We ain't got no possession, but we don't care. Zouma for us, man of the match. Well, going back to that, we got no possession, but we don't care. Most of Wolves' possession was in their own half. And most of our possession was in the Wolves' half as well. I would actually say I wouldn't be surprised if nearly 90% of possession was predominantly in the final third or the middle of the park. I wouldn't have thought any much more would have been in our area as well. Mice Collective says Zouma was our man of the match. Lee Vassallo, Zouma made influential blocks. Tabletop Rambo, Zouma, man of the match. Moisey gets a 9 from Andrew. Adam Cook says Zouma gets man of the match for you. Steve Bell says Zouma just with Pablo a close second. Vinay is saying Moyes 9 for proving so many of us wrong. Diop and Vlasic get an 8. Duzzy gives Moyes an 8. Mark Alexander gives him an 8. Mice Collective gives Moyes a 9. We almost scored a few from Robinham. Adam Cook, Moyes 8. Classic tactics today. BBC Sport gave Zouma a rating of 6. What? No chance, mate. David Moyes, good performance from manager. Tactics correct today. Moyes 7.5. His tactics today was very good. They absolutely were. And that brings an end to our player rating show. I hope you enjoyed that. We haven't done it for a while. We're going to see if we can try and bring it back. And if we don't, we do have Russ, who will be doing the match day debrief tomorrow. Make sure you do tune in for the West Ham Daily. We'll be going through the game a little bit more in detail as well, and just talking all things fun and all that sort of stuff, considering we did get the victory, which is great news. But like I said, if you are new around here, please go and hit that subscribe button. It does help us out. Click that little subscribe button there. Then beside it, there's an option to click the bell. The bell will then notify you. It's a notified bell when any of our shows are going to go live and when they do go live. So if you hit that bell notification, it will notify you when all our shows go. That is the thing that really helps us. Let's get our likes up right now. There's over 80 people watching live. Let's get our likes up to 80 if you can. There's thumbs up. You need to click those thumbs up. So please do that just now. And then we'll get our thumbs up process. That helps the algorithm, all that sort of stuff. So hit those thumbs up while you remember. Go and check out our review video. We had really good content coming live from the stadium as well. We had young Jake on the show. We had Russ live from the stadium. We had fans coming on and having a chat with us as well. We've done the match day live earlier on. Tomorrow, expect a West Ham Daily. You'll get that, and then you'll get the West Ham Weekly tomorrow as well. That will be back, and it'll hopefully be a good show. And then we'll be kicking on again with the preview, the press conference, and all the daily shows moving forward. So from me, Anton, we got 3 points today, and that's the biggest thing that mattered. The biggest thing I cared about was getting the 3 points over the line. But on top of that was actually also getting a good performance under our belts, and hopefully that can kickstart our kind of next run of games and getting points on the table with good play, good football as well, and that's a positive thing. Anyway, thanks for joining me. Stay safe, everyone. Come on, you Irons. Yes.
It's like a family tree, part of you.